All right, class. All right, but hope everybody's having a good week. All right, this week we're gonna start with the event services and logistics. Okay. All right, so when you're planning your event, definitely should have an event timeline, right? Something that kind of lays out the plan ahead with specific times or estimated times, so that everybody kind of knows when things are supposed to happen, and synchronizes all the events so that things go as according. Okay. All right. So the timeline is kind of divided into phases, right? You got event research, event planning, event coordination, event evaluation. Okay. And each one, at the beginning, you're really just trying to set the pieces together. Okay, once you get the pieces as far as like what it is that the event entails, how many people are going to need, all the resources, right? Then we start to, coordinate the or do liaison between the different entities to make sure that everybody's in sync on the same sheet of music. And then we actually have the event, and then we do the evaluation. All right, as I said before, evaluation is always critical when we're doing an event, just because we want to know, how the event went, and we can garner some pros and cons and some after actions that we can use in the future to make it even better than it was initially. Okay, and identify some problem areas. All right, so first thing, registration and tickets. All right, sports fans have a variety of choices in terms of tickets. Right, they can do general admission, can do reserved and box seating, club seat, luxury suites, and each one of those, depending on which level you're looking to get, will get a certain amount of attention. All right, general admission, you can find vitals on the internet or go to the box office and get those tickets. But when you talk about luxury suites and club seats, many times there are reps that are specifically designed, or I mean assigned, to clients in order to coordinate those things for the fans and for the people attending, because they're paying a pretty penny to um, come and watch the event. Okay. You got your personal seat license. Okay, that's a contractual right a person acquires for a fee that allows the person to purchase tickets for a specific seat. All right. So when you see these guys and gals sitting at the Lakers games on the floor seats, or you see some of these companies that have box tickets, such as Toyota or um, any Amazon, right? All those guys, they coordinated these special licenses, or they coordinated special uh, seats for their folks and for themselves, so that they can pass them out to the employees and give the employees a little incentive or bonus when they do, when they perform well. It just kind of a sometimes Christmas incentive and those kind of things, right? But when you talk about personal seat license, it's a contractual right a person acquires for a fee that allows the person to purchase tickets for a specific seat. All right. Food and beverage options at an event are vital. Okay. You definitely want to make sure that you have, a variety of different foods and, beverages available for your consumers, because it's going to be a wide variety of taste and palettes that are coming to the event. So you want to have a good selection. Don't want to go overboard, but you definitely want to have a variety of things. You got to keep an eye on whether or not, you want to sell alcohol, even though alcohol is a big money maker. It comes with a lot of extra challenges. All right. So you got to pay attention and weigh between the pros and cons of alcohol. Right? You got hospitality services. Okay, it involves a relationship between a host and a guest. All right, many venues now sell hospitality suites as part of their luxury ticketing inventory. DMOs spend considerable time cultivating relationships with event rights. And sporting events such as golf tournaments have hospitality tents that are often sold to corporate sponsors, Coca-Cola or Budweiser. So basically, a hospitality tent or hospitality services are those things that if you buy your ticket at a certain price point, you get some extra amenities, right? Maybe you get access to free food and drink prior to the game starting or the event starting, or maybe during the whole thing. You get uh, something that will, you know, that is a special for your company that you bought out, that you're gonna, provide to your employees and say, hey, you know what, we have a hospitality tent, so get there a little early, and we can hang out, right? So kind of like a tailgate, but specifically for a certain company or people, right? Waste management custodial services, probably one of the more important aspects and overlooked uh, things when we talk about events. Okay, you have to have adequate facilities in which to accommodate the number of people that you are expecting. Okay, especially for outdoor venues where you're going to have portable bathrooms. Right, you have to make sure that you have enough. Typically, the rule is 10 to 1, right? For every 10 people, you have one portable um, bathroom. But, sometimes you have to err on the side of caution and anticipate the amount of food that's going to be eaten and the amount of beverages that are going to be drank. So, you may want to go every 7 or 8 to 1, 7 or 8 people, you get one porta john, right? Lessen the number, increase the number of the porta johns. Yes, the cost will increase, but it will, be more beneficial at the end of the day, especially when people don't have to stand in line. All right. Nothing worse than having a long line to get to the bathroom. It's traditionally long anyway, but why make it even worse? And then you get to the point where the portable facilities are now, so full and so to capacity that anyone that uses after that is not going to be a good experience. So you have to make sure that you have enough, and you have to make sure that you have the cleaning services come before and after to ensure that they are hygienically safe and that they aren't going to be, a disease spreader. Okay. Next thing in transportation. Okay. Events that involve moving guests from one location to another can be a challenge and may require various modes of transportation. All right. It can be hidden transportation cars that absorb during the event. Transportation offer the first point of contact with the event for many attendees. And so if you think about the parking lot or the parking situation at any venue you go to, if you're parking, you typically try to get as close as you can to the venue. All right. If you want to pay a little extra, sometimes you can get very, very close to the venue and park in, special VIP parking, or, you can get valet parking in some instances, right? Depending on where you're at. When you're going to special areas that you can go to, if you have, premium tickets, they come with parking. And, that can be, a very big selling point for people going to events, right? Many instances, people will not go to the event because the transportation is such a hassle, right? Getting there, parking, paying for parking, having to walk a long distance just to get to the venue is sometimes a deterrent in people attending certain events, right? Lighting for sports events is a critical component of safety and can even contribute to revenue generation. Lighting is vitally important for televised games. You just got to have the right lighting, but that really is going to be about, the television broadcasters and those kind of folks to ensure that they have the right not lights. Now the venue has to have the adequate lighting just for general purpose, right? But they also have to take into account if they are, a professional team, that they have the appropriate lighting that they know that is going to be necessary to broadcast on TV. They know they're going to be on TV. So that's a pretty natural progression and something that needs to be done prior to any event, just the lighting for the venue. Okay. Working with vendors, you get develop strong relationships. The vendors is a factor in event management. Using outside vendors can reduce an organization's legal responsibilities. Okay. Event planners should be careful when selecting vendors because the reputation of the event will be affected by the product or service provided by the vendor. This is where you have to do your vetting, all right? You have to vet your vendors and see what their history is, right? What's their track record? Do they, deliver on time? Are they on time? Do they, invoice properly, right? Is their food quality, okay? Are they following all the basic food and hygiene rules, right? All those things go into, selecting your vendor, making sure that the vendors are up to par because, as you said, the vendors are really the key to the success of the event aside from the main event itself, right? So if the vendors are good, then more likely the fans will be happy, not just to the effect that there's a lot of vendors, but all the vendors are providing good, high quality products and services. Facilities is the next thing. During the bidding process, the event manager may need to interact with the family manager of the sporting venue regarding that necessary facility requirements and specifications for the event. Okay. Um, the event planner may have one prior contact with each venue. All the event planner may have to work with multiple people. The event manager must determine the physical requirements of the event and include these in the request or proposal submitted to the sports venue. Right. So of course, the facilities itself, right? We're talking about the venue, but then we're also, talking about things that are part of the building, part of the physical structure, right? Including physical security. Okay, so you got to make sure that you levy those requirements. If you need specific things, like golf carts, to kind of tote people back and forth. You have celebrities coming or people that are of influence. Maybe have a golf cart or something, or you maybe have some special entrance. You want to make sure that these rooms and these luxury spaces are up to par, right? And again, you need to coordinate with the venue manager about the facilities. Okay. Restrooms and traffic flow, we kind of talked about that already, right? Number of restrooms and hand washing stations required for an event will vary based on attendance levels and according to local and state sanitary codes, right? You can look at traffic flow from two standpoints, right? Attendees enter the event in passenger cars. How will the traffic flow in and out of the sport venue? And how will you set up the sport venue or points of purchase within the venue for the flow of spectators or participants? Again, signage is an important safety tool and should be readily visible and legible. So where you put your, restrooms and how you control your traffic, right? As far as restroom, food, beverage, right? You want to make it as easy and inherent process as possible, right? You want people to be thinking too much, and you also want to keep it to where there's not a big congregation of folks in line that are blocking the aisles, or they're blocking the fire escapes or the emergency exits and that kind of thing, right? And you want it to be where is a logical flow, right? Where, hey, the person more likely is gonna go to the bathroom. After they go to the bathroom, they're probably gonna get their beverage, and then they're gonna get their food, and they're gonna go back to their seats, right? And so you want to definitely have bathrooms on multiple bathrooms, right? Men and women, and multiple food, vendors. Kind of, you can have them all in one area, or you can have them spread out, so that you can have more space between the vendors and that people aren't bunched up all in one area trying to figure out what's going on, what line is for what. Seating in stadiums built in the past decade, seating is an important factor, providing fans with chair bags, wider seats, and drink holders. There are also many options for luxury and club seating with upscale amenities such as bars, private restrooms, and TVs. The ADA requires new stadiums to be accessible to people with disabilities so they, their families, and their friends can enjoy equal access to entertainment, recreation, and leisure. So seating is important, right? Especially as I mentioned for ADA. You have to be able to have seats that are accessible by a wheelchair, okay? Or people that are disabled and have other means of moving about, right? Or aren't moving very quickly, but it's still moving on their own volition, right? So you need to have seats that are, accessible by those folks. Not to mention seats that are just comfortable. Okay, think about, people are going to be sitting there for 2 and 3 hours. They want to be comfortable, right? The seat should not be hard on the body. You should, really be comfortable so that the people can enjoy the game. Because if the people are uncomfortable while they're watching the game, and then you couple that with maybe the weather and whatever ailments they personally have, they will end up leaving the game, leaving the event because they're uncomfortable, right? So you want to make the seating as comfortable and as wide and open as possible, right? Especially as you're talking about people getting up from their seats and having to cross over other people in order to go to the bathroom or go to the concession. You want to make sure that you have plenty of space between those seating aisles, and the seats themselves should be as comfortable as possible for the fans. All right. Hotel availability. Event tourism is one of the fastest growing sectors of the leisure travel market. Travel and tourism contribute to the GDP and create millions of jobs. Athletes who participate in events that move from one destination to another spend almost $1,000 per competition. So, there has to be some accommodation and thought that goes into where are people going to sleep, right? Where they're going to stay. And if you have something to the event where, to the point of where people are traveling to certain events, right? Because the event's moving, or that the events are being held in different states or even countries, right? It has to be, living area. There has to be a space where they can rent out, and be able to stay and drop their stuff off and change and, get back and forth from the venue, because most of the athletes are going to probably get to the particular venue or to the area the venue's in probably a day or two before, the actual competition, just to get acclimated to the area. Maybe they'll get some practice sessions in. And so they're going to need a hotel in which to, put their stuff down, sleep. And so that can get pricey very quickly, right? So you want to make sure that there's plenty of resources at every budget level, right? Customer service, all right? High quality service products. High quality service produces more satisfied customers who return to the event in subsequent years. The service experience for the active participant begins the minute they leave home and lasts until they arrive back home. During planning stages, consider possible areas where the event process may suffer a service failure. Customer service will be a primary initiative of everyone involved in planning a sporting event. Communicate expectation of what constitutes quality service to everyone involved in the planning process, right? Nowadays, it's not about, it's not that it's not about the event itself, but it's about the experience of the event, right? And what I mean by it is that everything else that's going around the event, that's that I need to do just to get to the event, that is part of the experience, right? And part of that is getting good customer service, right? Being able to access someone who's associated or affiliated with the venue, with the event, and if I have questions or if I need something, right, I can talk to them, and they can guide me in the right direction and make sure that I get what I need, right? Sound, okay. Some sounds can be controlled by the facility manager, but others cannot. In sports, music is often used by marketers to enhance the atmosphere of the stadium or arena and excite the crowd. Meet with facility managers during their initial phase planning stages for the event and provide details concerning needs for each facility space. Excuse me. All right, so sound is a big deal, right? And most of us, if we've been to any event, there's always music, right? There's either a DJ or someone playing music in between halftime or in between, timeouts, or whatever the case may be, right? There's some form of entertainment, and typically it's sound, right? You also want to make sure you have sound that can be used for the actual event itself, right? Whatever the sporting event is, that people can hear the sounds associated with the event, right? Like I can hear the squeak of the sneakers on the basketball court. I can hear, the football players on the field, when they tackle, right? I can hear certain things. There's certain sounds that are associated with the event that people should be able to access. All right. We kind of talked about hotels already. All right. As more events travel between distant destinations, participants and spectators follow along and need a place to stay. So we're not just talking about hotels for the athletes, but we're also talking about hotels for the spectators and for the event goers, right? They need a place to stay, right? Because they may show up a couple of days early, all right, and stay a couple of days late afterwards to enjoy the area or just to, be comfortable, right? And so there's different price points and different accommodations that need to be available, okay? Award ceremonies are usually celebrated at the conclusion of the event. They could be post-game ceremonies or ceremonies incorporated into a more formal event that includes dinner and entertainment, right? So typically that usually doesn't happen unless you have like a very short tournament, right? Golf tournaments are kind of like that, where they last, they begin during the week, and then they get to they're under the cutoff stage, and then come the weekend, that's when the real action is going on. Come Sunday, the winner's crowned, and they may have an awards ceremony right after the tournament is over, have a banquet or something that night. and people can celebrate and enjoy themselves. All right, but the award ceremony, depending on the venue, it may not be, it may only go on for like Super Bowl, right? The main championship, all right, or divisional wins, and you have an award ceremony. Like the Olympics, we have award ceremony towards the end of the particular event, right? Whatever sporting event it is, once they're completed, they have that award ceremony. Right. Next thing is event day management. Okay. So managing event day, you have to plan, anticipate, and delegate. Okay. Address how everything will be accomplished throughout the day. Put substantial thought into what could happen, and then all they may be responsible. You cannot do it all yourself. You have to be able to pass it on to others. Train and rehearse, right? Practice, 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 right? Let's do like a full dress rehearsal. Let's get this thing going. Let's throw in some possible issues and challenges and see how it works out. Communicate, coordinate with multiple staff, just make sure everything is happening the right way. Easily miss details, think everything that could go wrong. Try to plan for the most unlikely events. And so it's important that you don't forget to check every detail and plan for some of the more likely events, but also try to plan for some of the things that are very unlikely to happen, right? Just minor details, from the participants, spectators, sponsors, and staff view are the things that you should be, kind of looking at and making sure you have a plan for, all right? Event day tools, schedules and checklists, contact lists, event rundown, event script. So same thing we talked about before, right? Have a plan, have a schedule of events, right? Have times or estimated times or time ranges associated with each evolution, right? So that people have an idea of when things are going to kick off, right? When should we expect the rush to the concession? When should we expect people go to the bathroom? At what point do we think that people are going to start to leave and that we need to get, parking and the traffic flow back out and people set up to make sure that people are going out the right way, right? All right, imagine the staff, right? Arrival and check-in, staff briefing, positional assignments, breaks and rotations, problem resolution, staff communication, and post-event debriefing. All those things are important, right? When you imagine the staff and making sure that they are doing what they need to be doing at the right place, the right time, okay? And they are, positioned appropriately and spread out where they have full coverage of the entire venue, right? You have the entire venue covered from A to Z as far as like actual physical space. And there's no areas that don't have some staff member that's assigned to it that can address any issue within that particular location, right? Imagine spectators, right? Ticketing policy, ingress and egress, right? Ways in and ways out. VIP entries and seating, will call, signage, communicating with spectators, and spectator evaluation, right? All those things go into making sure that the spectators have a good time, right? But they also, get their issues resolved, right? Because there's inevitably going to be some ticket issues. There may be an issue with, understanding where the exits are as it relates to where they parked, right? Where can I get in and out, right? VIP entrance in the seat. That's always a point of contention because usually the VIP entrance is close to or in proximity to the general admission entrance. And so sometimes it's easy to miss that particular door, or it's easy for people to go to that door thinking that they're going to get through there and they're not. And they have to go around the corner to the general admission line and then stand in that line. So let's make sure that, all those things are have good signage and we are communicating with our spectators accordingly, right? Managing participants, right? Participant arrival, area logistics, communicating with participants, participant liaison, traveling parties, locker facilities, participant departure, and participant evaluation, right? So again, the athletes themselves or people participating in the events, they also have some expectations and you should have some expectations for them, all right? You want to make sure that you have everything that they need as far as, facilities, ice, tape, medical services, something, things to do with uniforms, just whatever they need, right? And getting in and out of the venue, without having to go through the general admission or the entrance that everybody else goes through because they need to get in and get out. And also the people that are coming, to see them, their friends and families, that they also are good to go. And if there's, a special concession being made for their family, that their family, gets those concessions and they get, escorted in and seated and, maybe get some, special attention as far as, services and that kind of thing. Right. Managing sponsors, right? Make sure the signage is up, make sure that your promotions are in place, right? Any deliverables that are, necessary that were due to the sponsors or due to you, right? Sponsor liaison and sponsor evaluation, okay? Customer service, okay, we talked about that before. Benefits of providing good customer service means, you retain customers, increase probably word of mouth, differentiate event from the competition, improve employee morale, right? Customer service is at the center of every successful, I should say good customer service is at the center of every successful event. If your customer service is good, prompt, quick, and informative, right? Then the participants will leave happy, right? Everybody leaves happy. But if your customer service is lacking, then you're going to hear about it, right? If you go to Yelp, you will see that there are many instances and comments that people have, and they're usually related to customer service and how poor the customer service was. Right? Reactive customer service, right? Tips for reactive customer service: be accessible, actively listen, apologize, and thank you, offer solutions, and follow up. In most situations, whatever you can do as a customer service rep to make the situation better for the participants, you should try to do that. Okay, you should try to go in there and just listen to what their issue is and solve it within your means, within your scope of responsibility. Moments of truth, right? Definition: anytime a customer comes into contact with the company, it has the opportunity to make an evaluation. The challenge is to identify each of these interactions and formulate strategies to ensure these interactions go up, right? Basically, this is where the rubber meets the road, right? We want to make sure that we capture the spectators or the participants' point of view, right? And kind of, when the actually execution of it all, they have everything they needed, right? So some things we want to look at, right? Changing rooms, warm facilities, the competition itself, score statistics, tracking award ceremonies, right? All these things that we were looking at for the spectator point of view, right? We just want to make sure that people have what they need when it's time for the event, right? From a participant event, right? Participant event, excuse me. Concessions, restroom, in-game entertainment, the game itself, facility, exit, travel flow away from the facility, right? And so just making sure that those people have what they need again to make their experience easy as possible, because they have other things that they're worried about, right? They're just not worried about like the game. They're not worried about just getting to the venue. They actually have to focus on the event themselves because they're participating in the event. So you want to make sure everything is good to go and they have what they need. All right. All right. So at this point, this ends the brief for this week. Please make sure to get all your missing work in, your assignments, your LEs. It's week 7 coming up. So we're pretty much at the end, the finish line. And so we want to finish strong and get a good grade, right? So if you have any concerns or questions, please email me. If it's a time-sensitive matter, then text me or call me, okay? All right.